one leaked contact sheet, one furious private confrontation, and suddenly the carefully polished Diana-inspired tribute Meghan allegedly believed would crown her image has become the very project Prince Harry once erased before the public sees another frame. In this fictionalized gossip scenario, the disputed photographs were never supposed to escape a tightly controlled creative circle. Yet whispers claim somebody obtained a private presentation showing Meghan in a sequence of black and white poses, carefully selected clothing, familiar jewelry, and strangely recognizable settings that appeared to echo some of Princess Diana's most memorable images. And when those comparisons reportedly reached Harry, the reaction was not pride, approval, or nostalgia, it was panic. Because Harry allegedly feared the project would look less like an affectionate tribute and more like a calculated attempt to package his mother's legacy for publicity. The reported leak immediately reopened every uncomfortable comparison royal watchers had already been collecting, beginning with the birthday pool plunge that looked spontaneous until viewers placed it beside an earlier Diana image and started asking whether Meghan had once again transformed an apparently private family moment into a perfectly timed visual reference. The birthday footage had everything required to sell carefree happiness, rescue dogs wearing party hats, food cooking in the kitchen, laughter behind the camera, balloons, a plastic tiara, and Meghan appearing to enjoy an ordinary celebration far away from palace pressure. But then came the black and white photograph of her launching herself into a swimming pool with her arms stretched, dramatically above her head, and suddenly the moment no longer looked entirely accidental. The image felt polished, symbolic, and suspiciously familiar, which is exactly why the supposed photoshoot leak would have terrified Harry, because one recycled pose might be dismissed as coincidence, while an entire collection built around recognizable Diana imagery could create a pattern too obvious to explain away. Sources do not verify this imagined confrontation, but the fictional whispers suggest Harry stared at the leaked photographs and immediately understood what critics would do: place every frame beside an older image, circle the similarities, and accuse Meghan of borrowing emotion from a woman she never personally knew. And that was allegedly the moment the disagreement exploded, because Meghan supposedly viewed the project as elegant visual storytelling, while Harry feared the public would interpret it as exploitation. The difference between those two explanations is enormous. A tribute honors the person at its center, but an imitation risks making the person recreating it the center instead. And critics had already argued that Meghan's pool photograph crossed that line by turning a birthday celebration into something resembling a studied performance. Once the new contact sheet supposedly appeared, the pool plunge became more than an isolated picture. It became the first piece of evidence dragged back into a growing case against the entire production. Then came Disneyland, another cheerful family outing that should have been impossible to politicize, yet even there the Diana comparisons returned. Meghan shared photographs filled with familiar theme park ingredients, Mickey ears, children's celebrations, colorful attractions, and carefully selected glimpses of family joy, but royal watchers focused on one ride photograph in which her angle and expression appeared strikingly similar to an old picture of Princess Diana enjoying a ride with Harry and William. Perhaps it was coincidence. Perhaps it was simply the kind of expression millions of visitors make on the same attraction. But gossip does not survive on generous explanations, and once the side-by-side images began circulating, critics treated them like another clue in a mystery that Meghan could never quite close. This is reportedly why Harry's fictional demand became so absolute: scrap the shoot, bury the images, cancel the rollout, and prevent another round of comparisons before the pictures could become permanent internet ammunition. He allegedly understood that the public would not judge the new images alone. Viewers would combine them with Disneyland, the pool plunge, the clothing choices, the jewelry, and every previous visual echo. One photograph could be debated, two could be defended, but repetition invites suspicion, and suspicion is exactly what transformed an ordinary theme park snapshot into another accusation that Meghan was rehearsing a role written by somebody else. But the most uncomfortable comparison returned through Meghan's summer album, because the collection reportedly mixed intensely personal family imagery with a beach photograph that critics immediately connected to Diana. One section appeared to show children carrying flowers along a tree-lined path at Althorpe, the estate associated with Diana's family and resting place, while another showed Meghan standing near the water in a dark, low-backed swimsuit and cap, facing away from the camera in a pose that reminded viewers of Diana's famous beach photographs. Individually, the images could have represented remembrance and relaxation. Placed together, however, they created an emotional sequence that critics called too deliberate, too polished, and too convenient to ignore. Nobody needed to invade the family's privacy to obtain those pictures. They were selected, arranged, and released released from Meghan's own account, which meant every comparison came with the same brutal question. If the resemblance was unwanted, why choose that particular frame? That question allegedly followed the leaked photo shoot straight into Harry and Meghan's private argument. Meghan reportedly insisted that Diana's visual influence belongs to a broader cultural language and that wearing a silhouette, repeating a pose, or selecting monochrome photography does not amount to stealing someone's identity. Harry, however, supposedly saw danger in the emotional layering, especially if the planned shoot included imagery connected to grief, motherhood, isolation, and royal rejection. Those were not simply fashionable themes, they were central chapters in Diana's public story, and any attempt to echo them would invite accusations that Meghan was borrowing Diana's pain to strengthen her own narrative. The same problem had already surfaced during the reported humanitarian visit to Jordan. The journey was framed around displaced families, medical needs, humanitarian partnerships, and children living through conflict. Yet critics claimed Meghan's clothing and camera-conscious presentation overshadowed the cause. What should have remained focused on vulnerable people became another debate about whether she was presenting herself as Diana's humanitarian successor. Meghan's defenders could reasonably argue that royal women have always used clothing and imagery to communicate, but detractors saw something colder, a carefully constructed audition for a global role that Diana earned through years of difficult work. And then, the rumored leaked production supposedly revealed its boldest image, a black and white portrait of Meghan seated cross-legged in a white shirt and dark trousers, recreating the visual language of the Harper's Bazaar photograph that had already drawn comparisons with Diana. That was apparently the frame Harry could not tolerate. Not because the pose itself was scandalous, but because it brought every previous accusation into one room at the worst possible moment. If released, the photograph would not be received as a fresh portrait. It would become the centerpiece of a public trial conducted through side-by-side images, old interviews, and ruthless commentary. The fictional dispute allegedly became even more intense when Prince Harry recognized echoes of the March 2021 Oprah interview inside the leaked photographs, because that conversation had already connected Meghan Markle to Princess Diana through jewelry, styling, expressions, and a painful story about escaping royal pressure. And now, the proposed campaign appeared ready to revisit those same emotional signals in a far more deliberate visual package. During the Oprah appearance, Meghan Markle wore a bracelet that once belonged to Princess Diana, while Prince Harry openly compared their struggles with what Princess Diana experienced alone. And commentators later drew parallels between the interview and the famous conversation with Martin Bashir, even questioning whether the dress resembled something associated with Wallis Simpson. The leaked shoot therefore threatened to revive an accusation Prince Harry reportedly dreaded, that private pain had been transformed into visual branding, with Princess Diana's memory once again functioning as the emotional bridge between Meghan Markle and the audience. That anxiety reportedly carried Prince Harry back to the engagement interview, when Prince Harry predicted that Princess Diana and Meghan Markle would have been thick as thieves and immediate best friends, giving the relationship an emotional blessing Princess Diana could never personally confirm. At the time, the remarks sounded loving, hopeful, and deeply connected to grief, but years of clothing comparisons, recreated poses, inherited jewelry, and even claims concerning Princess Diana's perfume made the statement appear increasingly complicated. In this imagined confrontation, Prince Harry allegedly realized that the proposed photographs could turn his most intimate belief into another weapon against Meghan Markle, allowing critics to argue that Meghan Markle had not merely accepted comparisons with Princess Diana, but had actively encouraged them until the boundary between remembrance and imitation became almost impossible to see. Then came the timing problem surrounding Prince William's Diana Legacy Awards appearance in March 2024, when Prince William honored Princess Diana's charitable influence and spoke about continuing that work with Catherine, only for Meghan Markle's lifestyle brand launch to arrive shortly before the ceremony. Critics treated the timing as calculated, accusing Meghan Markle of pulling attention toward herself while Prince William celebrated Princess Diana's legacy. Now, according to the fictional storyline, Prince Harry feared the leaked campaign would create exactly the same collision, a project supposedly honoring Princess Diana becoming another controversy dominated by Meghan Markle. He allegedly demanded every photograph be withdrawn, every digital copy secured, and every proposed promotional image abandoned before Prince William or palace aides could see what had been planned. The near-catastrophic New York car chase claim made the situation even more explosive because the statement released after Meghan Markle received the Woman of Vision award instantly reminded the public of Princess Diana's fatal encounter with paparazzi. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle described an intense pursuit, while officials and commentators questioned whether events had unfolded exactly as initially presented. For Prince Harry, any new photo shoot filled with flashbulbs, dark vehicles, isolation, or hunted expressions could reopen one of the most traumatic controversies of their public lives, and that possibility allegedly turned his concern into an ultimatum. Finally, the purple Northwestern University sweatshirt appeared in the disputed collection, recalling the garment Princess Diana wore after supporting cancer research and the university Meghan Markle later attended. It was supposedly meant to be the campaign's quietest image, yet it became the final breaking point. Prince Harry allegedly looked across the complete sequence the interview references: engagement symbolism, charity timing, paparazzi imagery, and familiar sweatshirt, and declared that the project could never be released. The leaked photo shoot and confrontation remained fictional, but the question driving the scandal refuses to disappear: was Meghan Markle creating a heartfelt tribute to Princess Diana, or had Prince Harry finally recognized a resemblance so carefully constructed that even he could no longer defend it?